Fact. One of the many topics rarely discussed in Zambia's media is animal welfare. The media is preoccupied with politics.
Yeah, it's something that we just don't find interesting, I think, to talk about, which is very sad.
What do you find interesting then, if you don't find talking about animal welfare interesting?
Political stories, because they take precedence. Every time you get on radio, the opposition did what, the government is reacting. There's a political party offering checks and balances. So mostly our stories will be centered around that. Or there's a scandal that broke out in Lusaka. Somebody stole somebody's wife. Nude pictures on social media.
On this program, we look at the Zambian media's response to animal welfare and coverage. My name is Boyd KAIMBI CHIBALE. One billion people worldwide rely on animals for their economic and social status. Of this number, the majority is the world's poor. Zambia's southern province alone accounts for more than 1.3 million animals, the highest population in the country. According to the World Animal Protection figures, more than $31 billion worth of losses in livestock and crop production droughts in sub-Saharan Africa were recorded between 1991 and 2013, where 38% of the world's land is exposed to some level of drought. Muzumbwe Chimba Kanemanema is an animal expert based in Choma.
In this region, in the southern province of Zambia, we have the population of about 1,300,000 cattle, majority owned by the small-scale farmers and partly the commercial farmers.
Zambia, like many other African countries, is prone to periodical droughts which lead to both humans and animals to suffer. But is the media in Zambia doing enough in reporting and protecting animal welfare, especially in times of disaster? I caught up with Solwezi-based journalist and media manager Vesakiana Mina.
I don't think that there is enough effort that has been put into bringing out information on the welfare of animals, their protection, anything that surrounds them. I think journalists have not yet identified talking about animals as important as talking about other things, even if they are part of the greater picture. I mean, our everyday life. So, no, I don't think that journalists are doing a good job. We are not doing enough to report on issues concerning animals.
What should you do to make the picture change?
I think we need to get to a place where we are shown, other than just told. What is it about talking about animals that is unique, that is important? You watch the National Geographic channel and you see journalists talking about getting out there and being sponsored to do this work. I think also it comes down to who's willing to help you carry that story. How far can you go with it? Where can you publish it? Who's willing to listen to your story? So I don't think there is, we haven't yet identified that bring out information in regards to animals in our country is as important as politicians or poverty or whatever else. Most of the animals that would draw attention to people are in the rural areas, are in the outskirts, in the national parks, in the conservation areas. And how do you get there with your own capacity? Are there people out there? Are there organizations that are funding journalists to do this work? If they are, where are they? We have not seen them. We have not heard of them. We have not seen them asking for journalists to do this work. And other than just passion for reporting about animals, as a person, I think we have to get to a place where we actually appreciate why. Where is the information that we should be bringing out there? Why can't we get to that place where we can bring it to the people and understand it? Maybe we need to be given a why.
Should you wait for someone to come and give you a wake-up call to cover issues relating to the welfare of animals?
This is why I'm saying that it doesn't have to be someone to give you a wake-up call, but even if you did have a passion to do it, how are you going to do it? Who's going to appreciate it? Who's going to want to listen to such kind of information? I don't think our community have, what's the right word for it, reached a place where they can accept such kind of information and treat it as important. as they would treat other things. So maybe that is also disadvantaging to journalists. Like, I'm going to cover this story, or I'm going to do this about this, but who's going to appreciate it? I can do a story about Zambian endangered species and take it to National Geographic Channel. They'll appreciate it. But where I'm coming from, my local community, if we go to Western Province and talk about the Opanis or whatever, who's going to appreciate that information?
Journalists and radio producers argue that animal welfare stories do not make it for hot media space. They claim issues to do with animals are boring. During the 2018 Radio Indawa in Lusaka, I bumped into Kayula Chisanga of San FM in Ndola and Mwenyamuyawa of Kwitu FM in Lusaka. The two are radio personalities who pleaded guilty to not doing enough on telling stories about animal welfare.
From Monday to Saturday, for all your trending news, views, reviews.
I think we're guilty of not doing much. Even when you consider, if you look at the number of stories that we cover in a day. I mean, I sit on the breakfast show, and I don't think we cover that many animal stories to talk about the animal welfare, unless a story broke. Like maybe when the rhinos were being poached, there's animals that are going extinct that are being poached in some place or were killed, or animals are killing people. Those are the kind of stories that you get. But I don't think we're really getting out there to dig for more information and report on animal welfare. I would be lying if I said we're doing much.
Would you agree with that?
Yes, working on and off radio, I think we are totally guilty. We concentrate on a whole lot more other than animals and their welfare. So it's something that we only highlight on certain international days, you know, like Day of the Cheetah, Day of the Hippo, Day of the Pig. And it's something that we just don't find interesting, I think, to talk about, which is very sad.
What do you find interesting then, if you don't find talking about animal welfare interesting?
Political stories, because they take precedence. Every time you get on radio, the opposition did what, the government is reacting, there's a political party offering checks and balances. So mostly our stories will be centered around that. Or there's a scandal that broke out in Lusaka, somebody stole somebody's wife, there's nude pictures on social media. So it kind of takes away the spotlight from important issues like that.
But do you think animal welfare is something that is worth talking about in the media?
Animal welfare is important, talking about in the media. Look, we are around animals. Look at the pets we keep. You know what I mean? Like, how do we treat them? How are they kept? You know what I mean? So it's an everyday thing that we really don't notice, and I think that's what in the media we are lacking. There's so many things that we see, but we don't digest, if I could use that word. So it's something important that can help us as a people, help us as a nation as well in terms of tourism. You know, if we do not take care of our animals, we are always talking about how we do not generate income. We only generate it through the mines, through, whatever. But tourism, animal welfare is a big part of that. So it's very important that we, the media, play a huge part in that.
Very true. I mean, apart from the pets that we keep, we have national parks, we have wildlife that we're supposed to look after and ensure that the population are not dwindling, whether it's the cheetahs, the lions. I mean, do we really want to have our kids not know what a lion looks like in the future? Because there's somebody who's smuggling. We're not talking about important issues like poaching, the indiscriminate killing of animals. I don't think we even pay that much attention to really know what is going on with the welfare of the animals in the wild. What are we doing when it comes to climate change? How's development? We talk about development a lot. Oh, Machinga province is developing because there's a shopping mall. But are they considering what is going to happen to the animals that are living in that area after they bring up all this infrastructure? As much as we need it, yes, we agree, but can we also find a way to make sure that the welfare of the people is taken care of as well as the animals?
If there was a war in this country, God forbid, I'm not asking for one, and people were displaced, would you save the lives of animals? As you run away, would you also run with your animals?
Ludicrous.
No. No.
You wouldn't?
No, I don't have a fluffy dog that I love dearly, no.
I think if I had a pet, I would take it. Because my kid is sick, so she could probably run, but then...
Are you going to eat the
I
dog
think like if we
afterwards?
left,
If you had a goat or a cattle or a pig?
I would carry it in case we need to eat it. I'm kidding.
No.
But if there's a way that...
Weird question.
But come to think of it, if there's a way you could carry an animal...
carrying a
you can-
chicken.
let me tell you, like, once upon a time when I was a kid, we were living in Kabwe. My dad was a soldier in the barracks. And then, I don't know if you remember when the missiles went off. I don't know what triggered that. And then a lot of people in the barracks started just scampering in all directions. People were carrying like their ducks, just riding away with your duck or your little dog. You actually forget your kid. As well as animals. Save everybody. Like if you have enough hands to save your kid as well as your pet or your dog, then do it.
On your breakfast shows, would you host a show talking about animal welfare?
Actually, we did. Was it last month? We did. We had I think we've covered like a number of animal stories. Come to think of it, maybe about 3 or 4 in this year alone. The culling of hippos, when we heard like hundreds of hippos were about to be killed because they were too much and a menace to the villages where they were. I was horrified at just the prospect of having hundreds of hippos killed. I'm thinking, can we find another solution? Can we export sell so that another country that doesn't have hippos or a larger population can keep these animals, unlike just mass murder of animals? Absolutely not. And then we had the SPCA. They were talking about how to take care of your pets, your dogs. Somebody was raising money climbing Mount Everest to raise money for the welfare of animals as well as people.
But the picture is different on the countryside. Radio stations in peri-urban and rural areas are producing programs targeted at livestock farmers. Clever Mwene is a journalist at Chikankata Radio, a radio station located in Chikankata, a cattle-rich but disease-infested area of the southern province. His station runs programs on animal welfare, particularly disease prevention.
Mubuzuba iwasunu tyandakulanganya jiletelela itondeo ibugwabiriza.
As a radio station, we normally air programs. We sensitize, we bring in people that are experts, that is extension officers. You know, sometimes when there is an outbreak of diseases that affect the animals, people do call us to find out from us so that we can bring in an expert so that they can call. We air a program whereby they can be free to ask from the experts live on radio so that the expert can explain and help the farmers out there how to go about that disease that have affected their animals.
In your area, how many animals do you think there are in Chikankata?
In Chikankata, over the past few years, I think the population has grown, especially that now farmers are able to understand what they need to do in order to make sure that their animals are healthy. That is, you know, with the coming up of the radio station, people, especially farmers, are able to understand what they are supposed to do, especially the corridor, how they should prevent their animals from the corridor disease. So they are able to dip their animals weekly. So due to that, the population has grown.
So do you think the media can play a big role in safeguarding the welfare of animals?
Yes, definitely. In the sense that, you know, when experts are there, if they are able to share the knowledge to the farmers out there, you know, farmers can easily access the knowledge that they need to have.
Journalist Jubilee Malambo, who is deputy news editor at ABN Television in Lusaka, says the media has a big role to play in safeguarding the welfare of animals. Malambo claims that 85% of information to benefit farmers should be generated by journalists.
It's true, a journalist has got a role to play in this particular aspect of social welfare in terms of the livestock. Not really to talk about animals, but the livestock in general. For example, a journalist can talk about the issues regarding the disease which actually attacks our animals. We have foot and mouth disease. We have chicken pox and other diseases which normally. So if a journalist doesn't take action in all these things, automatically the animals or the livestock in the country will finish. A journalist has got a role to play in this particular. At least 85% farmers are supposed to be highlighted on what is happening, how to keep their animals, how to maintain, even how to make sure that even the exportation of it is the role of a journalist to highlight all those, to open up the gaps, to open up some avenues for a small-scale farmer so that they can also do something. Agriculture has become a business so far. It's not really like where we normally keep animals for prestige, but right now it has become as business. Everyone must participate in this. Journalist, we have a role to play, comrade.
Do you think journalists in Zambia are doing that now?
Out of 100%, I could say 50%. They are not doing that.
Randomly, I asked journalists if they felt animals were important. This is what they had to say. Richard Mulonga.
Maybe we haven't really prioritized that an issue that can sell.
Henry Kabwe.
Media professionals are part of our society. So if children or even adults in some instances, they see a dog passing, the first reaction is to get stones, to stone. We don't appreciate animals.
Mukeya Liwena.
Dogs protect us at night, but during the day we beat dogs. We just find the dog and then we beat it. But during the night, these are animals which actually help us sleep peacefully at night, and they alarm us if there's something which is happening. You hear a dog barking during the night. So these are things which you need to pay attention to.
Fred Mwitwa.
No. Man cannot survive without an animal.
And the other thing I would like to talk about is just the way the dogs are kept, especially just even here in the urban area, in the compound. Dogs are not given food. They fend for themselves. They eat from rubbish pits. That is not supposed to be the case.
Do you love animals?
Yes, I do.
Do you keep any?
As at now, I don't, because I know that I'm not capable. But when I would have that, capability of keeping one, I would definitely keep a dog.
What would you say to the media that is not doing enough in sensitizing communities about animal welfare?
I think it's time that they started doing that. Let them start, sensitizing. Because, a dog, for example, as we are saying, you just keep a dog. You just know that you have a dog. You don't give it food. You don't take it for vaccinations. It's not fair. Dogs also get sick. There are illnesses for dogs, so the dogs have to be taken for vaccination. Is it yearly or every 6 months? All those are things that are not being done.
Do you think animals are important to human beings?
Animals are very important to human beings. Are they not part of the greater picture of the climate change, the ecosystem? I think we coexist with them. We need them for the balance, for human balance. And it's important that, yes, information about them is sent out there, but then I don't think much has been done to explain their importance in our lives, or how we're supposed to coexist with them and treat them as important as we treat trees, plants, and so on and so forth.
Do you think animals are worth protecting?
Oh, yes. I was watching, I read in the paper the other time that the government of Zambia had allowed poachers to kill hippos in a particular area in Zambia. I felt bad because that's part of who we are. That contributes to what makes Zambia beautiful. And then you decide to take it out because it's endangering a few villagers who won't move from a particular place. People can move. Animals can't move as freely as people can. So the government should have probably maybe moved the people, resettled them, and given them something to say, okay, we want to preserve these animals. And so, yeah, I think animals are very important to everyone.
Do you think we have enough laws in Zambia to protect the welfare of animals?
The laws are there, but they're never implemented. And the powers that be do not see to the fact that they should be executed. I think because they're not out there, and us again as journalists, we've not done enough work to bring out these laws to the people for them to understand. And so we get to a place where the laws are broken, people can do what they want, so on and so forth. But the laws are there. The issue is, why are they not out there for the people to understand, or why can't they be interpreted to the people? So journalists, again, are not doing their work.
So the journalists, we have a very, very big role to play in disseminating the information concerning animal as well as the livestock.
We don't appreciate animals.
I'm coming from a farming background myself. For me to be where I am is because of cattle. My parents, they are pastoralist farmers. And for our economic benefits, they have to sell an animal for me to go to school. They have to sell a cow for me to have access to medication. So, with me, animals play an important role because they are our economic backbone.
Animals also have got maybe human rights, if you like.
The dog is the closest animal to human beings, but the way we treat it, if it's not ours, is very hostile. So I think it also resonates in the media. It's the same issue because we don't look at animals as important aspects of our society. And I've never seen any coverage. We need to do some media monitoring to determine how we are covering animals. But I don't think, unless the council is killing dogs that are not vaccinated, then we get the coverage. If there is maybe buffaloes have drowned in some, I think that river in between Botswana and Zambia, then you cover the animals. So animals are never covered in terms of trying to ensure that we improve their welfare. Many people don't even vaccinate the animals because they don't know anything, because the media doesn't talk about it.
Dealing with a very ignorant people.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm coming from Mongo, and Mongo is urban and rural, in the sense that, let me pick one animal. I would say that a cow, for example, it helps us, the so-called Mongo rice which we are known for in the production of Mongo rice, a cow plays a role, oxen, by pulling the oxen and doing, but the way we treat those oxen is unfair. They just hit it anyhow, but at the end of the day it produces something for them. It's used for transportation, for example, from rural outskirts, like from Moshar to town, transporting what can I say, mats, traditional mats and other household items to town. But the way they beat it on the way, it's like it's not playing a role really to uplift their livelihood. I think this is a topic which we've been overlooking, and I'm glad that you're bringing up this topic. So the animals, either domestic animals or wild animals, I think it's something which we need to pay attention to.
Here are some facts about disasters that affect and have affected both humans and animals. Fact: 23% of total disaster impacts are on the agriculture and livestock sector. Fact: 1 billion of the world's poor rely on animals to survive. Fact: 40 million animals are affected by disasters each year. Fact: women and children are 14 times more likely to die from disasters than men. Fact: 10 million people and animals died from drought and subsequent famines in the last century, and numbers are expected to rise. Until next time, my name is Boyd KAIMBI CHIBALE in Lusaka, Zambia.
Uyuchilumendo takwatoluse uyutinyamatabane takwatoluse abule chikotikala chanshimbi achinikaneshina teningola akulikila kungombe ingombe shalila uyutinyamataye takwatoluse uyuchilumendo takwatoluse abule chikotikala chanshimbi achinikaneshina teningola akulikila kungombe ingombe shalila webantu tukenie tutambe pilamba webantu endashenie tutambe pilamba ingombe shilelila mulebano lusemwe bantu anaibukisa baimwe ngombe nina machampanga anaibukisa tipingwe ngombe nina machampanga mayo mulebano lusemwe bantu nepyepya mulepopola mungombe nedibandelo laifenda mulumendo mulebano lusemwe bantu kwa pieno mina kuchusha yo kule wale chibu uyu mulumendo takwatoluse uyu chinyamataye takwatoluse abule chikotikala chanshimbi achinikaneshina tiningola akulikila kungombe ingombe shalila webantu tukenie tutambe pilamba ingombe shilelila mulebano lusemwe bantu anayibukisa maimwe ngombe nina mashampanga nina machampanga mayo mulebano lusemwe bantu nepyempya mulepopula mungombe nedibandelo laifenda mulumendo mulebano lusemwe bantu
majambanga